As a security engineer or IT administrator, you need to configure user settings properly to control access, permissions, and security within your Microsoft Entra ID tenant. To check the user settings, you navigate to Users, then expand to see User Settings, and you see the page on the screen. As a security engineer, you must ensure that these user settings are rightly configured because default user settings are too open. When you review these user settings, what's important for you is to determine what standard users can do within your Microsoft Entra ID tenant. And when I say standard users, means non-admin users. First user setting is users can register applications. What it means? By default, any user in the tenant can register applications in Microsoft Entra ID. This allows users to create their own OAuth or OpenID based apps, which could request permissions to access corporate resources. What are the security considerations for this setting? If enabled, users can create applications that may be used for phishing attacks or malicious API access. Best practice is disable this setting unless required and only allow IT manage application registrations. Second user setting is restrict non-admin users from creating tenants. What it means? If enabled, non-admin users will not be able to create new Azure AD or Microsoft Entra ID tenants. What are the security considerations for this setting? If disabled, any user could create a new tenant, which could lead to shadow IT. Best practice is enable this setting to prevent unauthorized tenant sprawl and unauthorized cloud environments. Next user setting is users can create security groups. What it means? If enabled, users can create their own security groups, which can be used to assign permissions and control access to applications, files, or systems. What are the security considerations for this setting? If users create unauthorized security groups, they may misconfigure permissions and expose data. Best practice is disable this setting unless necessary and require IT approval for security group creation. Next user setting is guest user access restrictions. What it means? It determines how external guest users can access your company's resources. It has three options. Less restrictive means guests have the same access as internal users, which is not recommended. Middle one is custom to some extent. You can define specific permissions using various roles. And the most restrictive means guests have limited access, which is a recommended setting for high security environments. What are the security considerations in this case? If guests have the same access as employees, sensitive data could be exposed to external users. Best practice is set guest access to most restrictive unless collaboration requires broader access. Next user setting is restrict access to Microsoft Entra Admin Center. What it means? If enabled, only specific users like admins can access the Entra Admin portal. What are the security considerations in this case? If unrestricted, non-admin users may try to modify security settings or view sensitive directory information. Best practice is enable this setting to restrict access only to admins. Next user setting is allow users to connect their work or school account with LinkedIn. What it means? If enabled, users can link their work profile to LinkedIn for professional networking. What are the security considerations for this setting? This setting could expose corporate user information outside the organization. And the best practice is disable unless required for business purpose. And the last user setting in the list is show keep users sign in. What it means? If enabled, users are prompted to stay sign in after authentication, which reduce the number of logins required. What are the security considerations for this setting? If enabled on shared or public devices, it increases the risk of unauthorized access. Best practice is disable this setting for high security environments or require frequent re-authentication. To sum up, security best practices for user settings includes disabling users can register applications to prevent unauthorized app registrations, restricting non-admin users from creating tenants to prevent shadow IT, disabling users can create security group to enforce control group creation, setting guest user access to most restrictive for external collaboration, restricting admin center access to admins only to prevent security misconfigurations, disabling LinkedIn account connections unless necessary, and turning off keep users sign in high security environments. By configuring these user settings correctly, you enhance security, reduce risk, and enforce better access control across your Microsoft Entra ID tenant.